Alrighty. So if you take a look here, oops, give me 1 second. Okay, let's do this. Okay, there you go. Okay, so here we are. So good morning, everyone. My name is Linnea Trujillo, and I'm a business development specialist here for the MBDA Business Center, which is operated by our El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to be talking about how to do business with the County of El Paso. So a couple of things before we get started. Your El Paso Hispanic Chamber has celebrated our 30th anniversary in January. So thank you, El Paso, for all your continued support. Our chamber really appreciates all of your help. I'd like to start off by giving a statement of our vision. The vision of the chamber is to continue to be a core component for the El Paso region in fostering entrepreneurial economic development, where our existing companies are growing, where our entrepreneurs are reaching new horizons, and where our small minority women-owned businesses are thriving and outpacing all other markets. So I can get started by telling you a couple things about the chamber. So some of our benefits would be networking, helping other businesses here in El Paso and connecting you to those that can help your business thrive. We also have business development specialists like myself on site, able to help connect you online to financing and procurement opportunities, as well as becoming an advocate for your business. So allow us to be a voice for you. We also have our entrepreneurial technical assistance centers, which are our Women Business Border Center, which is a joint partnership of the El Paso Hispanic Chamber and the U.S. Small Business Administration. We have the MBDA Business Center, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Commerce and operated by the Hispanic Chamber. We also have our Minority Women Enterprise Diversity Center, which is funded by our U.S. Department of Commerce. Next, let's get started with understanding how to do business with the county. Today, we have Mr. Andres Chavez, who is taking place for Deborah Carejo Troll. So this is Andres Chavez. He is an administrative specialist with the county. And with that being said, Andres, I'm going to close my screen and we can start sharing yours. How does that sound?
That sounds great. And thank you, Linnea, for that introduction. And thank you to the Hispanic Chamber for giving the county an opportunity to get in front of our vendors and put out some information and maybe dispel some of the misconceptions that may be out there that some vendors may have that may be keeping them from trying to do business with the county. Like you said, I'm replacing Miss Deborah Carejo. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here. But like they say in football, next man up. Okay, and I'm excited, and I'm happy to be in front of the vendors to talk to y'all today. A little bit about myself. I work in the formal bids division here in the purchasing department. I actually take care of our vendor list, and I do our vendor enrollment and a lot of our vendor outreach. So you guys are in good hands. Some of the things that we'll be talking about today is just what public purchasing is, the types of purchases that there are, payments when it comes to getting paid, how to register to become a vendor with the county. I'll be going over the website. I'll share my screen with you guys so you guys can kind of see the path of all these things that we're going to be talking about. And then we're also going to touch on some of the changes that purchasing has in the near future for the new fiscal year. And I'll also let everybody know who to contact for what commodity and some of the projects that we currently have out there, so that, you know, if there are vendors that fit those certain commodities, we're more than happy to have them submit proposals and get some competitive bidding going. So the first thing I want to talk about is procurement law. Purchasing is governed by a local statute, and one of the first misconception is, while we are in partnership and we do have a lot of interlocal agreements with the city, and while we do procure services, similarly, we're governed by a different set of laws. And us being the city's younger brother, we get a little bit of confusion in terms of how they reach out and try to do business. Like I said, we are governed by a local statute. The city has direct contact with the vendors and the departments, whereas the county does not. The county is very centralized. Like I said, everything is approved by the purchasing agent and the commissioner's court. Some of the types of purchases that we have are dependent on the amount of the pricing. So the amount of spend determines which method is used. If it's a purchase that's going to be under $1,000, there's quotes and price checking that are encouraged, but it's not mandatory. So that's considered a micro purchase. A buyer can just go, and if it's a local business, just go and issue out a PO and get it cut out. Most of our business falls within the $1,000 to $15,000 price range. And for that, there's written quotations that are required, a minimum of 3. And the expenditure at this level is approved by statute by the purchasing agent. And the third way that we procure business is anything over $50,000. Anything over $50,000 throughout the fiscal year requires a formal solicitation, whether it be bidding, a bid, a proposal, an RFQ, and things like that. So those, like I said, are the 3 methods that we use to procure services and goods here at the county. And with each service, of course, there is its own set of procedures. So like I said, one of the ways to get on, let me share my screen here. Where are we at? Oh my good, okay. So can you see my screen? Yes, okay. So I'll go back to the beginning. Our county website is epcounty.com/purchasing. That's going to take you to our purchasing website, and everything that I've covered here today is available here at the website. First and foremost, when we're speaking about micro purchases and anything under the threshold of a formal solicitation, we have specific buyers that take care of each commodity. So if you go onto our website and you click on staff, you'll see a bit of a flow chart of the leadership for purchasing and all the different departments that we have. I'm going to go over some of these names so everybody's familiar, and if it's something that pertains to your company, you can go ahead and notate that contact person and reach out to them. Absolutely. So Elvia Harigi, she is the purchasing manager. She is one of the head supervisors here at the department. She handles the formal bid division, and she also handles all of our buyers. Arturo Caballero, he's our buyer. He buys food, anything with having to do with food or safety equipment, any print jobs, that would be Arturo Caballero. Albert Lopez, he does job order contracting, anything having to do with cleaning supplies, janitorial supplies, that would be your buyer right here. And then you have Myrna Kuhn. She is our buyer for anything regarding technology, software, printers. That's who that is. Patricia Williams, she is our buyer for furniture. furniture, and toner, I believe. And this section right here, Araceli Hernandez, Oscar, Blanca, myself, and now Claudia Parra, we handle the formal bids section for our department. And so any formal solicitation, one of those techs is in charge of that. And of course, you have Ms. Deborah Carrejo, who's our purchasing agent. She's been our purchasing agent since 2017. And Mr. Jose Lopez, who's our assistant purchasing agent. And like we said, all of our contact information is on here with our direct extensions. We're very open to the vendor community. We're happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. We did have a policy of sales calls and contacts. You know, as everybody else, the county has had to adjust. You know, we're obviously no longer taking, you know, walk-ins where you can come in and talk to our buyers for about 15, 20 minutes and kind of get in front of them. But one of the ways that we have tried to remain receptive to the vendor community is, you know, you can always email them and set up, you know, a web meeting just like we are right now, and also still get in front of them while also being able to maintain, you know, those social distancing guidelines that we've put forward. So like I said, we were very receptive to our vendor community. The more vendors, the more competitive, the better pricing, the better for the taxpayers. So if we go on to the website, if you want to become a vendor, a registered vendor, like I said, we have orange tabs right here, very clearly notated. We go ahead and click on become a vendor. It's a quick 3-step process. All you do is click on that, become a vendor. It's click continue. It's going to ask you for your company's information, your title, address, point of contact, just generic contact information. And you go ahead and once you submit save, like I said, I take care of our vendor list, so I'll get notified. You know, ABC company is trying to register as a vendor. So what I do is I go ahead and create a vendor profile. I make sure all the contact information is there and correct. And once that's completed, once I save that vendor profile, you'll get a notification from my email handle with a link, a username, and a temporary password that you use to go ahead and sign in, select what your commodities are, and update that vendor profile. Very important if you do submit to become a vendor that you look out for that email, because that password is temporary and it does run out, and it becomes a bit of an issue with IT to try to reset that. Once all this is that vendor enrollment, once you're an active vendor, it's just a notification system. So all it is for those formal solicitations, formal projects that we talked about that are 50,000 and higher, you'll start getting notified at your preferred method of communication, whether it be email, text message, or US mail. You'll start getting notified, hey, the county has this project out and these are the details. It'll give you a URL on how to reach the project. It'll give you a contact person, and it'll give you any pertinent dates on for that project, as in when it closes, deadline questions, and things like that. If there's going to be any pre-bidders conference, all the information will be on there as a guide to show you how to go ahead and do that. And like I said, this is just for formal solicitations. Anything on a smaller scale, we don't have a master list of projects that fall within the 1,000 to 50,000. Like I said, that's the bulk of our work. What you need to do is go ahead and reach out to our buyers and submit your W-9 form if you haven't done business with the county. We do have a data analyst that creates vendor profiles for those purchases as well. So for those micro purchases and 3 written quotes, it's more of a networking with our buyers, and letting them know, hey, keep us in mind when we have any sort of smaller project. The county is migrating over to an electronic bidding software called IonWave, and I believe the city currently uses IonWave as well as some of the school districts. As part of the migration, why it's important to enroll, IonWave and the county are going to be notifying the vendors that we have on our database, because the system that we have is a bit antiquated. So it's time to move on to electronic bidding. So IonWave first is going to reach out to all the vendors we have on our database and letting them know how to register with IonWave as part of the county. And then the county itself, as it starts rolling out, the county will have a second round of also notifying vendors and letting them know, how to register with IonWave. Like I said, IonWave is used, by other entities. So part of the silver lining with IonWave is vendors are going to be able to tap in to both entities, contracts with both entities, and not just with the county. So very important, if you haven't registered as a vendor with the county, go ahead, and today's as good a time as any to get your information on there. Make sure that you are as part of that migration to IonWave, because like I said, as we move forward with the new way of doing business with COVID, dropping off bid packages and office visits are going to be a thing of the past, and softwares like IonWave is going to be, right now it's a need, but I feel moving forward it's going to be regular business. So that's how you become a vendor with us. Like I said, very important to go ahead and set up your company to be notified of any when the migration comes. If we're looking for any active projects, we would go to list of bids. Like I said, any bids, if you're in our system, you're getting notified. But if for whatever reason you're not, say that person that set up the account left and you're no longer receiving their emails, you can always call me first off, and I can update your vendor profile. That's the first thing. But if for whatever reason you're not able to get notified, we do post all of our bids on our website. So here we have an example of one. It would have the bid number and it'll be hyperlinked. So that bid number will also be the bid packet itself. We have the title here is Electronic Payment and Processing Services for the county. It'll also have who the point of contact is for that. Like I said, our very capable bid section, usually, they'll take one at a time, and it'll be hyperlinked as well. So if you need to contact that person, it'll hyperlink right to their email. Like I said, just like the postcards or a text message or your email would have any important information on there, so does our website. So our website will let us know when this project opens, which is December the 10th. And it'll also have the deadline to questions on there, when the last day is to submit any questions. Now we click on, like I said, we open up that bid packet. We see the bid packet for this specific project. Like I said, front of the page, again, we reiterate, some of the information that's important, like the dates here, the deadline of questions again, just to make sure everybody has that information. And as you go through it, it'll have the pertinent forms, the scope of the work. Every project is different, of course, and it'll give you a pretty comprehensive packet of what the county is looking for in a responsive bid packet. Also, as a courtesy, it'll let you know how we're going to be scoring, what percentage, the cost is 10% of the scoring here, the reporting functionality. Just to kind of let you know, when you're preparing your packet, these are the things that the county is really looking out for. And if you scroll all the way down to the end of every bid packet, as a courtesy, the county has included a checklist on what a responsive bid is. So it's just, like I said, a courtesy for our vendors. We want to make sure that nobody's getting inadvertently disqualified from participating in the bidding process because of a missed signature. While they may not seem innocuous, by statute, if it's missing, say, the ethics signature, we cannot consider that we're open, or it can't be a packet that's considered for evaluation. And it is unfortunate that it happens sometimes. So as a way to try to minimize that, we've added the last page. And if everything in that checklist is checked off, then you have a responsive bid. That does not necessarily mean you will get the contract, but it will definitely be considered. So like I said, this is what our bid packages look like. And like I said, everything that I went over is on here as well. So becoming a vendor, the list of bids, even land sales, which are rare, but if you needed to, you can take a look here. We don't have anything at this time. And if you go to doing business with the county, it'll tell you in a PDF form how to do business, how to get on the vendor list. Like I said, it's things that I've gone over, some of the protest procedures and some of the policies that we have, our code of conduct, our conflict of interest, and the basics of purchasing law, if anybody's interested or is a bit confused with purchasing law as it pertains to the city or the county. And that's about it that we have. Like I said, I'm sorry that my presentation is not as sharp as Ms. Deborah's, but hopefully, the vendors have a little bit better understanding of how we are looking to do business and the different types of purchases that we have. We do know, since Ms. Deborah came on, we have streamlined a lot of our processes. We decreased the number of time for informal bids. That's anything under the 50,000 threshold, and we've decreased the processing time on formal solicitations. Before I get off, one of the misconceptions that vendors have with the county is the county takes too long to pay. That seems to be a misconception that we have with our vendor community. The county, like I said, is governed by certain statutes. The county has 30 days after the items are delivered to submit for payment. The misconception here is, well, after 30 days after the invoice is received to make that payment. A lot of the times, some invoices are misdelivered. The address for payment is here at 800 East Overland, Suite 406. And sometimes vendors will send invoices to wherever the item was delivered, and by the time that mail gets to the purchasing department, it's been maybe a couple of days, because that's just how mail in a large department works. So like I said, sending your invoice to the proper location is the best way to expedite payment. And like I said, with that, I'll open it up if anybody has any questions for us. I'd be
Yes.
more than happy.
So actually, thank you so much again for being able to do this for us today. I'm very sure that all the information that you did give was very insightful, especially for moving forward in these very different times, right? So we do have a couple questions in our Q&A box if you would like to stop sharing your screen and we can open it up. So we have, whoops. Okay, so we actually have these three questions. So how does the city promote local business and what percentage of the purchasing is done with local businesses?
Well, the county, of course, is interested in promoting local businesses. They're an important part of the competitive bidding process. And we take steps to maximizing award to local businesses in accordance with local statutes. Um, by definition, a local business is defined by, it has to be, their main office has to be inside the county of El Paso. But we do require verification that the purchase and the vendor meet the requirements as detailed in our policies. And it's important to note that the policy is not intended to override any fiscal responsibility that the county has to taxpayers. So the vendors have to meet certain thresholds established, like I said, by our policy, and then they need adequate proof of reporting and statements to be considered. I'm not too familiar or familiar enough to give too much of an in-depth answer for you in terms of what the requirements are, but we do a high percentage, I would say about maybe 70% of our awarded contracts in the past 3 years have gone to local businesses. Ms. Carrejo in the purchasing department, we do try to award locally as much as we can. That being said, there are certain things given the location where El Paso is that make it a little hard for local businesses to get awarded some of the tech contracts and things like that, because we're not a hub like that. But in the instances that we can award locally, we do do so more often than not. And we do try to promote local businesses, but we try to promote competitiveness more so than any locality. The preference, of course, is to be local, but the overall goal is to save taxpayers money. But to answer that question, about 70% is what we're doing awarding locally.
No, that's still very good. All right, so next question would be, what criteria is used to award proposals? I feel like you have.
Yeah, well, every project is going to be different, of course. In our bid packages, like I said, we do outline what the criteria is going to be, and depending if what the department needs are, they may want to score something as experience a lot higher than their pricing or things like that. So every bid packet is different, but we do include it in every single one of our packages, what that criteria is going to be, because that gives the vendor the opportunity to create their proposal around that criteria and not kind of be in the dark about what the county really is looking for, asking for in that said project.
Awesome. And then last question, how much, oh, there you go. How much time do I have to submit a protest after a bid has been awarded?
You can submit a protest, from my understanding, up until the point that it's going to be awarded in commissioner's court. So if you submit your protest, um, and it's a valid protest, right? You do get a chance to go in front of our commissioner's court and state your protest. That's always an option that's there. But outside of that, and I understand, and we understand that it is frustrating sometimes to not be awarded, a contract that, you may feel justified in being awarded, or you may feel that the other company was not. And those are all um, very valid things. One of the things that our purchasing agent, Ms. Deborah Carrejo, has implemented with our department, she gives the vendors the opportunity to debrief. So what that means is, if you're not awarded a contract, and you may want to know why. And so what she will do is she will make time with that vendor and go over their proposal, and see what areas needed improvement, or what areas that vendor was missing, or what was missing in that bid packet, or why it fell short of award. So that way that vendor knows the next time around, okay, this is what I need to do. So like I said, the protest process is there, but that has its own thresholds to be considered as well. One of the things, like I said, the better option is to just reach out to the purchasing department and ask what happened. How can we make our proposals better? And every vendor is granted that opportunity, if even if they are, you know, looking, or if for whatever reason they didn't get awarded the bid, whether it was, like I said, some technicality, or whether they missed the mark on some of those criteria that people are looking for. Um, we're always open to speak to the vendor community and help improve, because like I said, the more competitiveness that we have, the better for our taxpayers out there, because we really do receive better pricing with more competitive bidding.
Okay, sounds, we actually have another question submitted by Rosario Estrada. So they're asking, are the bids opened live on Facebook, and is a decision made there?
A decision is never made on the spot for any formal solicitation. Just because we have to submit the purchasing doesn't decide for anybody who the vendor is. We submit our recommendations to the department, and the department is the ones that have the final say. Well, commissioner's court has the final say as to whether or not to approve or an award. Another thing that goes into the bidding process is, there's terms and conditions. So our bids are reviewed by the department, by our legal department, by our audit department in terms of funding and things like that. So while we've streamlined the process, and it is a lot shorter now, I would say about 8 weeks, start to finish, some of those complicated bids. It does have its own process. It does take a while. Right now, since there's no in-person submittals, we are streaming our bids. That's something I should have gone over in the website. On the purchasing webpage, on the top, it'll have a link to all the bid openings, and we also stream them on YouTube, on the county's purchasing department's YouTube. We don't have, unfortunately, a Facebook page. That's definitely something that I'm gonna take to Ms. Deborah and speak to her about, because that is, Facebook has grown into not just such a social media site, but somewhere where people genuinely go to get information, or get most of their information. So that's definitely something that's good feedback for me to take back to her, of maybe setting up something for our bid section, where we can just stream those live. We do stream, like I said, off of our webpage and off of YouTube. So you guys are more than happy to look on that. If you are a vendor who is notified by email, you do get that email with that link as well, on how to, I mean, on the stream. And like I said, as far as any decisions, it's expedited as much as it can be expedited. Of course, there's always things that happen that may put a hold on it a little. All the bids that come in may be a little high for the budget that we have, and different things. So, like I said, it's nowhere in the county's procurement processes does a bid get open and a decision made right away, because there's just a lot of other factors to consider, not just pricing sometimes.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm gonna close that. And it looks like there's no more questions. So I'm gonna close out just talking about a little program that we have here at the chamber. So here at the chamber, we have our Small Street, Main Street Assistance Program, as well as our Work Safe, Work Smart Small Business Grant, both which are given, one by the city and one by the county. If you guys would like, anybody who's viewing in the audience, if you guys would like to give us a call, we are more than willing to help with whatever grant opportunities that are available. So with that being said, I would also like to close and stop sharing my screen. And thank you so much, Mr. Chavez, for being able to join us today and give us a lot more knowledge of what's out and available to those businesses here in El Paso that are both local and those that are not, and all those opportunities that are made available to the community. So I really thank you for taking your time and being so flexible and able to do it so last minute. It was amazing that you were able to do that for us. So the chamber and I truly appreciate you and your time.
Thank you. Thank you, like I said, for giving us the opportunity to get in front of the vendor community. My contact information is on the website. Like I said, I take care of the vendors. That's one of my main jobs, is to make sure our vendor community is taken care of and questions are well answered. So I am always open to any questions that anybody has, or if they need to be put in front of anybody, I'm the guy to put them in front of that person. So go ahead and look me up, and I hope to hear from everybody on here soon, so we can get that partnership going. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
of course. Thank you again so much. We'll be sure to push that out.
Thank
And
you.
we will see you guys next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
You as well.